Wow, Michele, I can't believe those stats are really amazing.
Absolutely.
Grace Smith House does so many wonderful things for the people here in the community that have a need. One of the stats that really stuck out to me was the number of people that called the 24/7 hotline.
Absolutely, over 2,000. And how many people aren't calling? That's what.
Well, I think that's one of the concerns, and that's where Grace Smith is here to help.
Absolutely, and 400 people that need shelter that they actually have to turn away because they don't have enough room. So we have
That's
to make
why
sure
resources are so important.
Yes, we get them resources. So today we have Michele Pollock-Rich, the Executive Director from Grace Smith House, and I'd love to welcome
Michele. Come on out.
Michele. Good morning, Michele.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Please have a seat.
Yes, please do.
Thank you.
So how do you like the set?
It's beautiful.
Yeah? Something different, right?
Well, make yourself comfortable.
Yes, please do.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing those stats with us, though. I mean, it's very sad to see, but very, very warm to know.
Well, and it's eye-opening too, isn't it? The need that's out there in the community. And for those viewers out there that don't know what Grace Smith House does, can you talk to us a little bit about your mission and your purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. Since 1981, the mission of the Grace Smith House has been to help individuals affected by domestic violence and their children live violence-free lives.
Fantastic.
Thank you. We have 2 domestic violence shelters, and we offer counseling, advocacy, obviously our hotline that answered almost 2,000 calls last year, and we have a huge prevention and education team now that goes out and does
Education is very, very important in the process. I think that just educating people on what to do if they need help is something that you've been doing for over 20 years, correct?
35 this year. It's our anniversary.
35 years.
That's a long time.
It is a long time, and it's something that I think the community, you were saying off camera, is a little bit ashamed of if they've been in the situation. But how can they kind of overcome that and pick up the phone and make that call?
It is the most difficult thing to make the call and to ask for help and to acknowledge that your life isn't perfect and you need some assistance. For many years, even though we've been doing domestic violence advocacy and education for 35 years, still domestic violence lives in this culture of shame. So the tagline of Nationwide for years has been "Break the Silence."
Fantastic.
Nationwide, I can tell you that the statistic is 1 in 4 women will be a victim of domestic violence at some time in her life. So if you think of how many women you know and how many families you know.
That's a much higher number than I would have thought.
Yeah, I agree. 1 in 4.
And you would think that everyone would be talking about it if it was 1 in 4. But again, there is this kind of culture of silence. And if people call our hotline, they can call 471-3033, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and just take the first step. Sometimes the first step isn't shelter, it's just that call.
It's just that.
And it must be so comforting to have somebody on the other line that's seen what they're going through so many times and can guide them in the right direction.
Absolutely. How do you educate people on the warning signs of abuse?
One of the ways that we educate is through our Healthy Teen Education Program. So we're in all 13 schools in Dutchess County. We have a team of educators partially funded by Dutchess County and partially through United Way. And they go out and they have a program, and they've reached, like I said, all of the high schools, many of the middle schools, talking about what is healthy, what's unhealthy, and what some of the warning signs are.
Great to be starting in the schools at a younger age and teaching these things.
Absolutely. Now, what about the Anti-Bullying Project? I am a huge advocate of anti-bullying, and I am definitely interested in what you're doing too.
Well, we just wrapped up this past week. So as part of that initiative funded by the United Way, we have a leadership institute for middle school students called Connect for Respect. So in the middle grades, prior to talking about healthy relationships, part of what we talk about is healthy friendships and setting boundaries, and also speaking up if you see somebody being bullied, and not being a passive, quiet bystander. So the Connect for Respect leadership camp teaches. We had 18 middle school students from all over Dutchess County this year.
Wow.
And they learned about bullying, about how to stand up to bullies, and how to be a leader so that others aren't.
That's really great. And bullying's changed too. It's not what it used to be. It's with all those social media out there.
Behind closed doors and kind of say something, but are they saying it to you, in public at school? Are they, it's more of this whole world of the internet. And I love social media. I'm a huge advocate for social media, but when it comes to bullying, I definitely feel that there needs to be some improvement. And maybe social sites should get involved with that too. too. But for now, Grace Smith House is, and we
That's
appreciate
where
that.
it all starts with bullying, is that type of mentality. So changing that type of mentality, that's really excellent.
Well, domestic violence is, we think of it as either physical violence or sexual or emotional violence, but it's a pattern of coercive control. So you have one person using some kind of a manipulative technique to make someone else do what they want them to do. And that's really what bullying is. It's instilling power over another child, right, and affecting the way that they think or their actions or what they do. So you're right, part of combating bullying, it helps us to combat domestic violence later.
Interesting. Tell us about the process for taking someone in who needs help.
Okay, so we have a residential program and a non-residential program. So the residential program is our 24-hour emergency shelter, and the first step is to call that hotline, the 471-3033, and they will, a person calling for shelter assistance will do a short intake, and then we get them to a safe place, meet them at a safe place, because the shelter is confidential. You can't just drive or walk up to it. If somebody just needs counseling or advocacy, legal advocacy in court, they can call our office number and be routed to an advocate, or call the hotline again. If somebody needs assistance with writing an order of protection, we're on the second floor of the Dutchess County Courthouse, and we helped to assist in writing all of those orders of protection.
Wow.
So there's no wrong door to get assistance.
That's unbelievable.
So for somebody that's a victim, it's great to know that those services are there. Even if it's just a simple question, they can pick up
That's
the
right.
phone.
And people can also get information on our website, which is gracesmithhouse.org.
Fantastic. Now, what if you know someone that's affected, but the person has to take their own initiative, right? It can't be someone that you know that you may want to call for. The person themselves has to get out there and do it themselves.
They do, and we help empower people to make their own choices. But if you do have a friend or a relative and you're not sure how to help them, you can absolutely call our number and say that. I know somebody who's in trouble. I don't know the best way to help them. One of the best ways, I think, to help someone who you know is struggling with domestic violence is simply to keep the door open and tell them, I'm worried about you. I don't like what I see, and I'm worried about your safety. Sometimes if you attack the other partner, they close down.
The defense mechanism kicks in, yeah. I would.
So sometimes the best thing to do is just say, I saw that and I didn't like it, and I'm here if you ever want to talk, and leaving our information around doesn't hurt.
That's a great tip.
That is a great tip.
How can the community help?
We would not be here after 35 years without the help of the community. So we have volunteer training, so many of our volunteers come from the community that help out in our shelters. Also, many of our volunteers do drives for us, so we've had toilet paper drives, we've had diaper drives, toiletries, all types of things. And also, people come to our events, they donate money to our organization.
You do the drive around the holidays, which
Yes, we do.
And I've come and I've visited, and I see the tables filled with toys and gifts for the kids, and I think to myself, that's so wonderful for these.
No, and the auction that you do, I love that every year. And when is that this year?
The auction will be again in April, and we haven't set a date yet, but it's usually the second week of April.
Okay.
Coming up a little sooner, on September 25th, we have the Afternoon of Champions, which is a fantastic, fun event full of games and prizes, which we hold actually at the Children's Museum Pavilion.
Oh, wow.
We have our Women of Grace Awards on October 5th. This year we're honoring Stephen Chicory, who's our past board
that's
president.
great.
Great honoring.
And also the folks at Camp Ramapo, because Camp Ramapo helps our children every year, so that's coming up. And for the first time, we will be having the Grace Pumpkin Parade.
I love that.
Yes, on October 30th, because home shouldn't be a scary place.
That's right.
And that will be through the Little Italy section of the city of Poughkeepsie.
Oh, that's going to be cool.
So we're
That's
really,
awesome.
yeah, we're so
And that's first time this year.
first time this year
is
for the
that?
Grace Pumpkin Parade. It will be Sunday, October 30th.
30th, and we can bring kids. I'm coming.
Absolutely.
It is a pumpkin parade.
It's a costume parade.
Mark, you better be there. We're going.
I'll be there, absolutely.
Well, there'll be competitions for adults, teens, children.
I'll probably dress my daughter up as a pumpkin. That way we fit in perfectly.
There you go.
So, Michele, I hear you have a little trivia game to address some of the facts about domestic violence.
Yes, we do. Are you ready to play?
I think I'm ready to play. This is the game.
This is the game. One of the ways that when we do community tabling, we like to bring people to the table and kind of get them engaged a little bit. And I hear you two are pretty competitive.
Yes, we are, and I'm winning.
I never win against Michele, unfortunately.
You never win.
I think this is great information, so let's see if we're right or wrong here, Michele.
Absolutely.
So, Mark, would you like to go first?
Ladies first.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, Michele. So domestic violence is only physical, such as bruising, hitting, strangling, etc.
False.
That is false. You are correct.
There we go.
All right, good job.
Right, Mark, it's
One.
your turn. Domestic violence affects only girls and women.
I would say false. Would you like to check that one for me,
Sure.
Michele? False, all right.
You're absolutely right. We have to read those facts later.
Okay, Michele, are you ready?
Yes.
Alcohol and drug use cause domestic violence.
False.
All right, let's see. That is false.
False.
All right.
You guys are really
for
doing
two.
great. Mark, victims have good reasons for staying in an abusive relationship.
False.
Let's see.
That's got to be true.
Well, that's okay. I was looking
They
at that
always
backwards.
think they have a good reason, right?
Okay, Michele, I think it's your turn.
Yes.
After a victim leaves the relationship, the abuse ends.
False.
That is false.
That is false.
That is false.
A lot of stalking.
3. See, that's
Okay, so far it's 3-2. Okay, Mark, here's your chance. Abuse often proves deadly when there is a gun in the house.
That is true. That is true. All right, good.
that is so sad.
Okay, Michele, domestic violence only happens to poor or uneducated people.
False. That is definitely false.
Definitely false.
Definitely false. And finally, Mark, you probably know a victim of domestic violence.
I would say that's true.
Yes, and we could tell that's true without even looking. If 1 in 4 women are affected in their lifetime, you know one. Even if she hasn't
Absolutely.
disclosed that to you, you know a family affected by domestic violence.
This is eye-opening.
It really is. You know, I know this was a game, but just reading this brings so many, questions to my mind, and I can't believe so many people are affected.
Grace Smith, great organization. Michele, thank you so much for joining us today. And please, out there in the community,
Support Grace Smith House.
Smith House. We need them in our community. And Michele, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here this morning. Thank you, Michele. It's been a pleasure.
We know that Rhinebeck Bank is a large supporter. and
Yes, they are. Our one shelter is about 20 years old, and you can imagine after hundreds and hundreds of people, that kitchen was looking pretty shabby.
Oh, wow.
So we started a campaign a couple of years ago, and Rhinebeck Bank gave us the first $5,000 for our kitchen renovation, and I'm proud to say that this year we renovated that kitchen, and it is beautiful. It's the heart of our home.
That's
And we were so happy to help.
Yes, that's what we like to do, definitely help local people, and this is one way that we can definitely do that.
Helped many of your neighbors.
Thank you, Michele.
Thanks again,
Thank you.
Michele.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you joining us today.
Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
You as well.
Thank you. Support Grace Smith House.
Absolutely, and we want to thank Michele Pollock-Rich for joining us today.
Yes.
What a great organization, and any help you can provide them out there in the community, we would appreciate it and they would appreciate it.
Absolutely. And please check us out next week on wakeuprhinebeck.com. We'll see you.
See you then.
Bye.